Have you ever get in a headlock position where you cannot get out? Well, in today's episode, we're gonna talk about how you can use jiu-jitsu for street self-defense when someone hold on to your head. Alright, so we're gonna cover the basic two positions that are very commonly seen on the street, where either the opponent's gonna grab your head, trying to pull you down towards the ground, or they're either hold you in a position, just lock onto your head, wouldn't let go, okay? So let me borrow the assistant here, Nick. Nick is a lot taller and bigger than me, so we're gonna use a size difference to kind of do a comparison, okay? So what we're gonna look at is the opponent's reaction versus my position, right? So let's just say that when he grabs my head, you'll notice that he's gonna hang onto my neck and basically pulls my neck towards the ground, just like that, right? Now, in most cases, what we're gonna talk about is, yes, you can strike, right? You can kick, you can elbow, you can do headbutts, and whatever you want. But specifically, we talk about it's in a position where you may not have the time to respond to either strike, bite, or anything. The moment that the guy grabs you and tries to yank you down to the ground, you may not have the time to react or respond to a punch, to a groin, just like that, see? Because the moment he pulls me, I'm gonna lose all the position and all the balance, right? Now, of course, if I don't respond quickly, I'm gonna be ending up on the ground, which we're gonna cover in a different episode, how you can get out from a headlock on the ground, okay? So, specifically, here's what's gonna happen. When Nick pulls me down to the ground fast, if I don't respond, he's gonna yank me to the ground quickly. Go, boom, just like that, you see it? Now, he may or may not let go, so we have to take into consideration and how I respond to this. So let's take a look at this, okay? So, let's look at what happens here. When he grabs onto my head, he's gonna pull me in this direction, right? Now, if I don't move my support leg, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna lose my balance and I'm gonna lose all my structure. So the moment he does that, I want to think about stepping in as close as I can, this way, like that. So what that does is it gives me the fundamental base for a split second. I want you guys to look at my right hand. As he stepped through, boom, I'm going to take this hand on base on his knee. You can do it like we call a V, or you can base just like that. Either position is fine. What I want is I want to have a grip or a position where I can hang on to his leg for a split second. Now, in the moment he pulls me forward, I'm going to apply the same momentum, basically step through. I'm going to sit my hip towards the ground, but I'm going to rotate my hip like so. At the same time, you'll notice my leg goes straight. This is all done in the air. I'm going to grab his hip, either on the belt or the pants. I'm going to yank him towards the ground and use the momentum to basically flip him over my side of the body. So watch. We're going to do this in one motion slowly. So number one, I step through, I'm going to base. Watch, number two, I sit and I pull. Boom, just like that. Once I get to this position, at least I'm on top. He's still gonna hang on to my neck, of course. So what I need to do is I need to break this grip, which we're gonna talk about in a second, okay? So, in part two, we're gonna talk about how we can get out from the grip on the bottom. So let's just kind of cover on the standing portion, okay? So, number one, hit pull, I step in that face. That's number one. Number two, notice my left hand right here is gonna grab around the side of the pants and it's gonna hold on to him just like that. So as he pulls, I'm gonna drag, sit, and roll, just like that. His hands onto my neck, I'm gonna control, pull him in. And that's gonna be the preparation for the next step. Okay? So that's variation one. Variation two. Let's just say Nick grabs me in this position, right? But this time he's not pulling me forward. He just either hangs in me position or he may attempt for a punch. Now let's just say take out the punch out of consideration. He's gonna hold me in this position, he's gonna hold me tight, so I cannot go anywhere, right? So the first thing I do is I control the wrist and I'm gonna pull him down like that. The second thing I do, notice my left hand right here, I'm still gonna hang on to his pants or his belt. If I cannot reach that far leg because my legs are shorter, I'm gonna sit through in between his legs, just like that. At the same time, I'm gonna fall onto my left hip and lift my body up at the same time, and it will look like this. And once I take him down to the ground, same thing. He's still hanging on to me. I control. I pulse my hand to the ground, and I just basically gonna pull him backwards, just like that, to stretch the body. Okay? So we're gonna do this one more time. So, variation one is where the opponent pulls me forward. Variation two is when you hang on to my neck, and I'm just gonna stuck right here for a second. In this case, I'll do the same thing. I grab, control, I take my left foot, I'm gonna extend my left foot and sit to the left foot on my body. So it looks like this. Boom, and lift my head up. Once I get to this position, I'm still controlling by the hand. I grab his shoulder, pose on the ground. I'm gonna pull this leg back and just expand his body, just like so. Okay, so these are the two variations that are very common in the position where the guy grabs your head. So let's recap. Number one, he grabs me, right? He's like, he yanked me to the ground. And as he does, I'm gonna step through, hold. Notice how it's too slow, control, base, pull him away. That's number one. Number two, he holds me, but his body is upright. He's at a wider base, so now I cannot go forward. He will not allow me. So I do the same thing. I control, I grab, I set through. Just like that. Notice I set through, base, control, block his hip. Left hand go on the shoulder, pull him back to stretch him. Just like that. Those are the two variations. And do keep in mind that if we do escalate the situation to where we had to break into a fight, that means I probably has failed to either talk the guy down or maybe to back away, right? Just remember, the guy supports me that he wants to fight. I always tell the guy, hey, I don't want trouble. You know, you're in the position where I don't have to escalate the situation to the point I have to fight this guy. I can prevent the fight way before the fight even starts, right? But let's just say that we get to the point where things happen so fast I didn't see it coming. That's where the position and training comes in, where I have to prepare myself for either taking forward or downwards, right? So even when we look at the same position one more time, he holds on to my neck, right? He may not be interested in pulling me down to the ground. He may just want to hold me to punch my head, because this is a very dominant position, right? So the first thing I need to talk about is when the hand comes in, I may not want to go like this, because I'm going to miss that shot. So I'm going to put my hand right here. As he punch, I'm going to cover and then jam the hand like so. Now do the same thing. I want to just hang on for a split second. I can still sit backwards, boom, to take him down to the ground, right? And that's the same thing. We can talk about position-wise. Either he's going to try to punch me, or he might try to pull me down to the ground, or maybe he just kind of hang on to me in position, right? So regardless, let's say he tried to punch me. The moment he pulls the hand back, that gives him time to block and step forward at the same time. Now, watch what happens. I'm going to still do the same thing as roll forward, and boom. Just like that. I'm still in the same position what I want to be, right? Always end up being on the top, because that's where my position is better than him, especially when Nick is a bigger guy. I don't want to be on the bottom, but there's going to be times I might end up on the bottom, so I may have other options, right? We're going to talk about a different episode next time, so we can see how we can handle the bigger guys on the bottom, especially when he's putting pressure onto me. But today we're going to emphasize on what happens is when the guy hangs onto my neck and I'm being on top.